In the last episode, our small band of rebels, still reeling from a harrowing rescue mission, discovered a traitor in our midst and received a cryptic message from our mysterious ally, leading us to the ancient Eldrid ruins in search of hidden archives and forgotten technology. The revelation of a traitor had left us shaken, but also more determined than ever to uncover the secrets of Aetheria's past. With our skills honed and bond forged anew through trials, we set out on a perilous quest. I stood at the entrance of our secluded hideout, gazing out at the desolate landscape of Nefaria, my mind racing with the possibilities. The wind howled through the barren wasteland, whipping up clouds of dust and debris. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I contemplated the challenges ahead. Lyrien's voice cut through my thoughts, his words laced with a sense of urgency. "We can't stay here for long, Alex. Our presence will be detected soon." Elara nodded in agreement. The message from our ally mentioned a specific entrance to the Eldrid ruins. "We need to move now if we're going to beat the rival factions." I nodded, a surge of determination coursing through my veins. "Let's gear up and get moving. We have a narrow window of opportunity." As we set out, the landscape shifted and morphed around us, from rocky outcroppings to sweeping dunes of sand. I could feel the weight of history bearing down on us, the ancient power of Nefaria pulsing through the air. What if we're walking into a trap, I thought, my mind nagging with doubts. Lyrien's reassuring presence steadied me. "We've been over this, Alex. Our ally has provided us with the best possible intel. We have to trust the plan." Elara's eyes scanned the horizon, her gaze piercing. "I'm picking up some strange energy signatures. Prepare for ambush." My heart quickened as I drew my sidearm, the familiar weight a comfort in my hand. "Let's move. Stay close." The air seemed to vibrate with tension as we pressed on, the silence broken only by the crunch of gravel beneath our feet. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground, and I felt a jolt of fear. "What's happening?" I shouted above the din. Elara's voice was calm, but laced with a hint of concern. "It's a trap, Alex! Get down!" I hit the ground, my ears ringing from the explosion. As I struggled to my feet, I saw it, a massive stone door adorned with ancient symbols looming before us, the entrance to the Eldrid ruins. But as we approached, a figure emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly energy. "You shouldn't have come here, Alex," the figure spat, their voice dripping with malice. My instincts screamed at me to act, to protect my friends and push forward. Not going back now, I thought, a steely resolve hardening within me. The figure raised a hand, and I felt a surge of energy wash over me. "Let's do this!" I shouted to Lyrien and Elara. The battle ahead would test our limits, push us to the edge, but I knew we could overcome. For Aetheria's future, for our lives, we had to. The world seemed to narrow to a single point, the outcome hanging precariously in the balance. And then everything changed. Previously, the trio had narrowly escaped a deadly trap, and a mysterious figure had emerged from the shadows, threatening to block their access to the Eldrid ruins. The figure's otherworldly energy and sinister intentions had left Alex, Lyrien, and Elara on high alert, poised for a fierce battle. As the world seemed to narrow to a single point, the outcome of their quest hung precariously in the balance. The air was electric with anticipation as I charged forward, my sidearm at the ready. Lyrien and Elara flanked me, their eyes locked on the mysterious figure. The energy emanating from their glowing eyes seemed to be probing us, searching for weaknesses. The figure sneered, their gaze lingering on each of us before settling on me. "You think you can claim the secrets of the Eldrid ruins? You, a mere mortal!" Their voice dripped with contempt. I steeled myself, drawing on the lessons learned from our previous trials. We're not here to claim power, but to uncover the truth about Aetheria's past and the technology that once was. My words were laced with conviction, and I could feel the weight of our mission settling on my shoulders. The figure's gaze flickered, and, for a moment, I saw a glimmer of curiosity. but it was quickly extinguished, replaced by an icy determination. "You will not leave this place alive!" With a swift motion, the figure raised their hand, and a blast of energy shot toward us. I reacted on instinct, grabbing Lyrien and Elara and pulling them to safety behind a nearby boulder. The energy blast ripped through the air, scorching the ground mere feet away. As we caught our breath, I peeked over the boulder, assessing the situation. The figure stood tall, their eyes blazing with energy. I knew we couldn't keep dodging attacks. We needed to take the fight to them. Lyrien handed me a small device, a makeshift shield generator. This should give us some cover. Elara nodded, her eyes already scanning the surrounding area for any signs of additional threats. The device crackled to life, and a shimmering shield erupted around us. I took a deep breath, feeling a surge of confidence. We had come too far to turn back now. With the shield protecting us, we advanced on the mysterious figure. Elara led the charge, her agility and quick reflexes allowing her to dodge the figure's wild energy blasts. Lyrien provided cover, his own energy sword flashing in the dim light. I brought up the rear, my sidearm firing precise shots to keep the figure off balance. The battle raged on, the four of us clashing in a flurry of energy and steel. The figure's powers were formidable, but our combined strength and strategy allowed us to hold our ground. As the fight wore on, I began to notice something peculiar. The figure's energy seemed to be waning, their attacks growing less precise. I exchanged a glance with Lyrien, and we both knew this was our chance. With a fierce cry, I charged forward, my sidearm firing a concentrated blast that struck the figure with incredible force. Elara and Lyrien joined me, their own attacks pouring in, wearing down the figure's defenses. The mysterious figure stumbled, their energy faltering. As they fell to the ground, their eyes lost their otherworldly glow, and they regarded us with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. As the dust settled, I approached the figure cautiously, my sidearm still trained on them. "Who are you?" I demanded. The figure's gaze drifted to Lyrien and Elara before settling on me. "I'm Kael," they whispered, their voice barely audible, "a guardian tasked with protecting the Eldrid ruins." I lowered my sidearm, intrigued. "What do you mean, a guardian?" Kael's eyes seemed to cloud over, memories flooding back. "I was once a member of the Aetherian Research Council. I swore to safeguard the knowledge within these ruins to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands." Elara stepped forward, her expression softening. "Why did you try to stop us?" Kael's gaze locked on her. "I was manipulated. A traitor, hidden among your ranks, had influence over me. They used me to prevent you from uncovering the archives." My eyes narrowed. "The traitor? Who is it?" Kael's lips parted, and a single word escaped: Aaron. The revelation hit me like a blow. Aaron, one of our own allies, had been playing us all along. I felt a surge of anger and betrayal, but I knew I had to keep my focus on the mission. With Kael's information, we now had a clear path to the Eldrid ruins' secrets. As we stood there, the air thick with tension, I realized that our journey had just taken a critical turn. We had to be more vigilant than ever, for we were no longer just fighting against rival factions. We were up against a traitor within our own ranks. As we approached the stone door, now unlocked, I felt a sense of hope. We were one step closer to uncovering the secrets of Aetheria's past, and one step closer to reclaiming our future. But with Aaron's betrayal hanging over us, I knew that our journey was far from over. With a deep breath, I pushed open the stone door, revealing a dimly lit chamber filled with ancient artifacts and mysterious technology. The air was thick with the scent of old dust and forgotten knowledge. As we stepped inside, I felt a sense of awe wash over me. We were on the cusp of a groundbreaking discovery, one that could change the course of Aetheria's history, and I knew that I, along with Lyrien and Elara, was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with our combined strength, determination, and a newfound sense of hope. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but I was no longer the same person who had set out on this quest. I had grown, learned, and evolved, and I was ready to face whatever came next. With Lyrien and Elara by my side, I knew that we would overcome any obstacle, no matter how daunting. As we ventured deeper into the chamber, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation. What secrets lay hidden within these ancient walls? And what lay in store for us as we uncovered the truth about Aetheria's forgotten technology? The journey had just taken a critical turn, and I was eager to see what the future held. Previously, Kael, the guardian of the Eldrid ruins, had revealed that a traitor within their ranks, Aaron, had manipulated them to prevent access to the ancient archives. With this new information, Alex, Lyrien, and Elara had gained a crucial advantage. But the threat of Aaron's betrayal loomed large, casting a shadow over their quest. As they stood at the threshold of the Eldrid ruins, the weight of their mission and the danger that lay ahead seemed to converge into a single, daunting moment. The stone door creaked open, revealing a labyrinthine chamber filled with ancient artifacts and mysterious technology. The air was heavy with the scent of old dust and forgotten knowledge, and I could feel the weight of history bearing down on me. Lyrien and Elara moved cautiously, their senses on high alert as they scanned the room for any signs of danger. As we ventured deeper into the chamber, the silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the soft hum of ancient machinery. I could feel the excitement building within me, tempered by a sense of trepidation. What secrets lay hidden within these ancient walls? And what lay in store for us as we uncovered the truth about Aetheria's forgotten technology? The chamber was a treasure trove of ancient artifacts, with rows of dusty consoles, ancient scrolls, and mysterious devices that seemed to defy understanding. Elara's eyes widened as she approached a console, her fingers dancing across the surface as she accessed the ancient database. "This is incredible," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. "The Eldrid ruins hold the secrets of Aetheria's most advanced technology. We could learn so much from this." Lyrien nodded, his eyes scanning the room. "But we can't stay here for long. Aaron could have set a trap for us. We need to gather as much information as we can and get out." I nodded in agreement, my gaze sweeping the room for any signs of hidden dangers. "Let's split up and cover more ground. We'll meet back here in 10 minutes and compare notes." The three of us dispersed, each of us focusing on a different section of the chamber. I made my way to a console, where I began to access the ancient database. The information that flowed across the screen was staggering, revealing secrets about Aetheria's past, its technology, and the downfall of the ancient civilization. As I scrolled through the data, I stumbled upon a cryptic message: Erebus Protocol, activated, consequences, catastrophic. The words sent a shiver down my spine. What was the Erebus Protocol, and what kind of consequences could it entail? I made a mental note to share this information with Lyrien and Elara when we reconvened. As I continued to scan the data, I began to piece together a timeline of Aetheria's history. The ancient civilization had been on the brink of a major breakthrough, but something had gone catastrophically wrong. The minutes ticked by, and I lost track of time as I delved deeper into the database. It wasn't until I heard Lyrien's voice calling out to me and Elara that I realized we were running late. We reconvened, exchanging notes and sharing our discoveries. Elara had uncovered information about an ancient device capable of harnessing immense energy. Lyrien had found evidence of a hidden laboratory where the researchers had been working on the device. As we compared our findings, a disturbing picture began to emerge. The Erebus Protocol seemed to be connected to the device, and the consequences of its activation had been devastating. "We need to find out more about the Erebus Protocol," I said, my mind racing with the implications. "If it's connected to the device, we could be facing a catastrophic outcome." Lyrien nodded, his expression grim. "We have to assume that Aaron knows about the protocol. We can't let them use it." Elara's eyes sparkled with determination. "We won't let them. We'll uncover the truth, and we'll stop Aaron before it's too late." As we continued to explore the chamber, we stumbled upon a hidden log entry. The timestamp was recent, and the word sent a chill down my spine. Erebus protocol activated. Containment breach imminent. Evacuation protocols failed. My heart sank. We were too late. The Erebus protocol had been activated, and the consequences were about to unfold. "We have to get out of here now," I said, my voice low and urgent. "We can't let the containment breach affect the entire region." Lyrien and Elara nodded, and we began to make our way back to the entrance. As we emerged from the Eldrid ruins, we were greeted by a sight that made my blood run cold. A dark energy cloud was spreading across the landscape, fueled by the Erebus Protocol's activation. The consequences of Aaron's betrayal were about to unfold, and we were the only ones who could stop it. I steeled myself, determination burning within me. We would face whatever challenges lay ahead together, and we would not let Aethereia fall. As we gazed out at the spreading energy cloud, I felt a sense of hope. We had grown, learned, and evolved, and we were ready to face whatever came next. With Lyrien and Elara by my side, I knew that we would overcome any obstacle, no matter how daunting. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but I was no longer the same person who had set out on this quest. I had found my strength, my purpose, and my courage. And I was ready to face whatever the future held, armed with the knowledge that I would always stand alongside my friends, united against the unknown. The fate of Aethereia hung in the balance, and we were the only ones who could tip the scales. With a deep breath, I led the charge, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead and to forge a heroic transformation that would redefine my place in the world. Previously, the Erebus protocol had been activated, and a dark energy cloud was spreading across the landscape, fueled by the catastrophic consequences of Aaron's betrayal. As we emerged from the Eldrid ruins, the true extent of the disaster became clear, and the weight of our mission to stop the containment breach and save Aethereia seemed to converge into a single, daunting moment. With the clock ticking, we steeled ourselves for the challenges ahead. The air was thick with the acrid smell of ozone and burning earth as we gazed out at the spreading energy cloud. The once clear sky had turned a sickly shade of green, and the ground trembled beneath our feet. I could feel the energy emanating from the cloud, a palpable force that seemed to be pulling us in. "We need to move," Lyrien said, his voice low and urgent. "We can't let that cloud spread any further." I nodded, my mind racing with the implications. "We need to find the source of the Erebus protocol and shut it down. But first, we need to get out of here and regroup." Elara consulted her map, her brow furrowed in concentration. "There's a nearby settlement, relatively close to our position. We could try to gather information and find allies." I hesitated for a moment, weighing our options. "Let's do it! We can't face this alone." As we set off towards the settlement, the energy cloud seemed to be growing in power, its tendrils snaking across the landscape like a living entity. We moved swiftly, our senses on high alert as we scanned the horizon for any signs of danger. As we approached the settlement, I could see that it was a small, ramshackle town surrounded by a makeshift wall. The buildings seemed to be a mix of scavenged materials and makeshift shelters, and the air was thick with the smell of smoke and desperation. We entered the settlement, our arrival drawing attention from the townsfolk. They eyed us warily, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. "Who are you?" a grizzled old man asked, his voice gruff but not unfriendly. I explained our situation, and the old man's expression turned grave. "You're talking about the devouring," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's been spreading across the land, consuming everything in its path. We've lost people, homes, and livestock. We don't know what's causing it, but we know it's not natural." Elara's eyes widened. "The Erebus Protocol, it's connected to this?" The old man nodded. "We've heard rumors of a device hidden deep within the ruins. Some say it's the source of the devouring, but we don't know how to stop it." Lyrien's jaw clenched. "We do, and we're going to try." The old man nodded, a look of determination etched on his face. "We'll help you. We have to. Our town is on the edge of the devouring. If you can stop it, you might save us all." As we gathered information and supplies, I realized that the stakes had just escalated. The devouring was no longer just a theoretical threat, it was a real, tangible danger that was consuming everything in its path. With the old man's guidance, we set off towards the hidden laboratory, determined to find the source of the Erebus protocol and shut it down. As we journeyed deeper into the heart of Nefaria, the air grew thick with an eerie, unnatural silence. The ground seemed to be trembling, and the sky above us was a deep, foreboding purple. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a woman, her face etched with determination and a hint of desperation. She wore a worn leather jacket and a utility belt hung at her waist, stocked with various tools and gadgets. "You're the ones trying to stop the devouring," she said, her voice firm. "I've been tracking it. My name is Mira. I'm an engineer, and I might be able to help you." I raised an eyebrow. "What makes you think you can help us?" Mira smiled, a hint of pride in her voice. "I've been studying the ancient technology. I think I can help you navigate the laboratory and disable the device." Lyrien's eyes narrowed. "What's in it for you?" Mira's expression turned grim. "My family was taken by the devouring. I want to help you stop it, not just for Aethereia, but for my own sake." I nodded, a sense of hope rising within me. "Welcome to the team, Mira. Let's work together to stop this." As we approached the laboratory, the air grew thick with tension. We could feel the energy emanating from within, a pulsing power that seemed to be calling to us. Mira consulted her schematics, her brow furrowed in concentration. "The device is located in the central chamber, but be warned, the lab is heavily guarded. We'll need to be careful." I steeled myself, a sense of determination burning within me. We were close. We were going to stop the devouring, no matter what lay ahead. As we entered the laboratory, we were met with a sight that made my blood run cold. The central chamber was filled with rows of humming machinery, and at its center, a massive device pulsed with energy, the Erebus protocol source. And we were not alone. A figure stood before the device, a look of twisted triumph on their face. "Aaron, you fools," they sneered. "You think you can stop the devouring? It's already too late. The protocol has been activated, and there's no turning back." I felt a surge of anger, but I kept my cool. "We're not going to let you get away with this, Aaron. We're going to shut down the device, and we're going to stop the devouring." Aaron laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "You'll never succeed. The device is shielded. You'll never get past the security systems." Mira stepped forward, a look of determination on her face. "I think I can bypass the shields, but we need to act fast." As Mira worked her magic, I realized that this was it, our moment of truth. We had come so far, and now it was time to put everything on the line. The fate of Aethereia hung in the balance, and I knew that I would do everything in my power to save it. With Lyrien, Elara, and Mira by my side, I steeled myself for the battle ahead. The clock was ticking, and the consequences of failure were too terrible to contemplate. But I was no longer the same person who had set out on this quest. I had found my strength, my purpose, and my courage. And I was ready to face whatever the future held, armed with the knowledge that I would always stand alongside my friends, united against the unknown. Previously, the Erebus protocol had been activated, and a dark energy cloud was spreading across the landscape, fueled by the catastrophic consequences of Aaron's betrayal. As we emerged from the Eldrid ruins, the true extent of the disaster became clear, and the weight of our mission to stop the containment breach and save Aethereia seemed to converge into a single, daunting moment. With Aaron standing before the device, a look of twisted triumph on their face, the stakes had never been higher. As I gazed into Aaron's eyes, I felt a surge of determination and anger. The air seemed to vibrate with tension, and I could sense the device's power coursing through the air, tempting me to make a move. But I knew that rushing in blindly would be suicidal. I needed to stay focused, to think strategically. "Aaron, stop this," I said, my voice firm but controlled. "You don't have to do this." "Therese, still a chance to turn back." Aaron's smile grew wider. "You really are naive, aren't you? The devouring is just the beginning. It's a necessary step towards Aetheria's rebirth. And I'm the one who's going to make it happen, Mira's voice cut through the tension. I'm almost there. Just a few more seconds, the device began to glow brighter, and the air around us started to distort. I could feel the energy building up, preparing for a catastrophic release. Aaron's eyes flicked towards Mira, and for a moment I thought I saw a glimmer of concern. But it was too late. Mira's hands flew across her console, and a burst of energy shot out, striking the device. The shields flickered and died, and Aaron's face contorted in rage. "No!" they shouted, but it was too late. The device began to destabilize, and the energy cloud started to recede. The devouring slowed, and then stopped, its dark tendrils retracting like a living entity. The air began to clear, and the ground stopped trembling. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a cheer erupted from the nearby townsfolk, who had been watching from a safe distance. They emerged from their hiding places, faces filled with relief and hope. As we stood there, bathed in the warm glow of success, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. We had done it. We had saved Aethereia from the brink of disaster. But our celebration was short-lived. A new threat emerged from the shadows, a group of heavily armed soldiers, their faces set in determined lines. "I'm afraid you're not out of the woods yet," one of them said, their voice cold and detached. "The Council has sent us to apprehend you. You're considered a threat to national security." I exchanged a look with Lyrien and Elara. We knew that we couldn't trust the Council, not after what we had discovered. And now it seemed that they were willing to use force to silence us. Mira stepped forward, her eyes flashing with defiance. "We're not going anywhere. We've just saved this planet from destruction. You can't seriously expect us to go quietly into the night." The soldiers moved forward, their guns at the ready. I knew that we couldn't take them on in a straight fight. We needed a plan, and fast. That's when I saw it. A side door, partially hidden by a stack of crates. It was our only chance. "Move!" I shouted, grabbing Lyrien's arm and pulling him towards the door. We sprinted through the doorway, the soldiers hot on our heels. But we had a head start, and we knew the labyrinthine corridors of the laboratory like the back of our hand. As we ran, I could hear the sound of alarms blaring and the shout of pursuit. But we didn't look back. We kept moving forward, our hearts pounding in our chests. Finally, we emerged into the bright sunlight, gasping for air. We didn't stop running until we were sure we had left our pursuers behind. When we finally stopped to catch our breath, I turned to my friends, a sense of pride and gratitude in my heart. "We did it," I said, smiling. "We saved Aethereia." Lyrien clapped me on the back, a grin spreading across his face. "We make a pretty good team, don't we?" Elara smiled, her eyes shining with tears. "We do, but we can't let our guard down. There are still threats out there, and we need to be ready." Mira nodded in agreement. "I've got some ideas on how to improve our chances. Let's get to work." As we stood there, united in our determination, I knew that we would face whatever challenges came our way, side by side. The journey ahead would be fraught with danger, but with my friends by my side, I felt a sense of hope and optimism that I had never felt before. And then a message flashed on Mira's comms device. She read it, her face pale. "What is it?" I asked, a sense of foreboding growing in my stomach. Mira's voice was barely above a whisper. "It's from an unknown sender. It says..." The Erebus protocol was just a test. The real threat is coming. Prepare yourselves. I exchanged a look with my friends, a sense of unease growing within me. We had just saved Aethereia from one disaster, but it seemed that another was looming on the horizon. But we were ready. We had found our strength, our purpose, and our courage. We would face whatever challenges came our way, united and determined. As we stood there, the future stretching out before us like an unknown road, I knew that we would emerge victorious, armed with the knowledge that we would always stand alongside each other, united against the unknown. Previously, The Erebus protocol had been activated, and a dark energy cloud was spreading across the landscape, fueled by the catastrophic consequences of Aaron's betrayal. As we emerged from the Eldrid ruins, the true extent of the disaster became clear, and the weight of our mission to stop the containment breach and save Aethereia seemed to converge into a single, daunting moment. With Aaron standing before the device, a look of twisted triumph on their face, the stakes had never been higher. As I gazed into the ominous message on Mira's comms device, my heart sank. The Erebus protocol was just a test. The real threat is coming. Prepare yourselves. The words echoed in my mind like a dire prophecy. I exchanged a look with Lyrien and Elara, and we knew that our journey was far from over. The air seemed to thicken with anticipation as we stood there, the weight of the unknown pressing down on us. We had just saved Aethereia from one disaster, but it seemed that another was looming on the horizon. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized that we were in for a whole new level of challenge. "We need to get to the bottom of this," I said, my voice firm and resolute. "We can't just sit back and wait for the next attack. We need to take action." Lyrien nodded in agreement. "I know someone who might be able to help us. A contact from the Luminari has been trying to reach out to us. Maybe they have some information on what's coming next." Elara's eyes narrowed. "The Luminari? Aren't they the ones who have been working in secret to undermine the Council?" Lyrien nodded. "That's the rumor, but if they're willing to help us, willing to listen." We made our way to the designated meeting point, a nondescript cafe on the outskirts of the city. As we entered, a hooded figure slipped out of the shadows and approached us. "You're the ones who stopped the Erebus protocol," they said, their voice low and gravelly. "I've been sent to give you a message. The real threat is a being known as the Oblivion. It's an ancient entity from the depths of Nefaria, one that feeds on the very fabric of reality." My mind reeled as I processed the information. "What does it want?" The hooded figure hesitated. "The Oblivion seeks to break through the dimensional barriers and consume Aethereia. It's been awakened by the recent disturbances in the energy field." I felt a chill run down my spine. "And how do we stop it?" The figure handed me a data crystal. "This contains information on the Oblivion's weaknesses. But be warned, the entity is powerful, and you'll need all your skills and cunning to defeat it." As we left the cafe, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were in over our heads. The Oblivion sounded like a force of nature, and I wondered if we were truly equipped to handle it. But as I looked at Lyrien and Elara, I knew that we would face this challenge together. We had come too far to turn back now. As we made our way back to our hideout, Mira joined us, her eyes shining with determination. "I've been analyzing the data from the Eldrid ruins. I think I've found a way to use the ancient technology to our advantage." I grinned, feeling a sense of hope and optimism. "Let's hear it." Mira explained her plan, and as she spoke, I felt a surge of excitement. We might just have a chance to defeat the Oblivion and save Aethereia. But as we began to prepare for the battle ahead, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were being watched. I glanced around, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. That was when I noticed a small, almost imperceptible signal on my comms device. It was a tracking beacon, and it was locked onto us. "Guys, I think we have a problem," I said, my voice low and urgent. Lyrien and Elara exchanged a look, and we knew that we had to move fast. We couldn't let our enemies get the drop on us. As we set out to shake off the tracker, I realized that our journey was about to take a dramatic turn. We were no longer just fighting to save Aethereia, we were fighting to survive. The streets seemed to blur together as we ran, our hearts pounding in our chests. We dodged through alleys and side streets, trying to lose the tracker. But it was always one step behind us, taunting us with its presence. Finally, we reached the safety of a nearby rooftop, where we collapsed, gasping for air. I looked out over the city, feeling a sense of determination and purpose. We would face the Oblivion, and we would emerge victorious. Because we had each other, and we had the knowledge and skills to take on whatever challenges came our way. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in a warm orange glow, I felt a sense of hope and optimism. We would save Aethereia, no matter what it took. And then a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a young woman with piercing green eyes and a look of determination on her face. "My name is Arya," she said, her voice firm. "I'm a member of an underground resistance movement. We've been watching you, and we believe you have a crucial role to play in the fight against the Oblivion." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What makes you think that?" Arya smiled, a hint of mischief in her eyes. "Let's just say that we have our ways of gathering information, but I think it's time we showed you what we're capable of." As she led us to the hidden base of the resistance, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. We were about to embark on a new journey, one that would take us to the very limits of our abilities. But I had a feeling that we were in for a whole lot more than we bargained for. The stakes were higher than ever, and the road ahead would be fraught with danger. Yet I knew that we would face it together, as a team, because that's what friends were for. The base was a marvel of engineering, hidden beneath the city streets. I could see the determination in the eyes of the resistance members, and I knew that we had found allies in our fight against the Oblivion. As we began to plan our next move, I realized that this was just the beginning. We had a long and difficult road ahead of us, but I was ready. With Lyrien, Elara, Mira, and now Arya and the resistance by our side, I felt a sense of hope and optimism that I had never felt before. We would save Aethereia, no matter what it took. And we would emerge victorious, armed with the knowledge that we would always stand alongside each other, united against the unknown.